Chapter 91. Sure enough, seeing Wong Han Han and David's intimate actions, many men were instantly disheartened, and Kui Ziyuan also looked at David with jealousy in his eyes. David introduced Wong Han Han one by one. When introducing Dao Sun Xiaoming, David said, "This is Uncle Sun's daughter Sun Xiaoming. Her father and my father are comrades in arms." When Wong Han Han heard it, he immediately understood that Chen Baoguo wanted to ask someone to find a job at that time, and it should be Sun Xiaoming's father. So Wong Han Han enthusiastically stepped forward and took Sun Xiaoming's hand. "Sister Xiaoming is so beautiful. I have heard Brother David and Uncle Chen mention you for a long time, but I have never seen it." Wong Hanan's enthusiasm also made Sun Xiaoming smile. "Sister Han Han, you are also pretty. This is Zhang Tongjian. We are in the same group." David pointed to the corner. Zhang Tongjian with glasses said, "Hello." Wong Han Han smiled and stretched out her hand. "Hello, hello." Zhang Tongjian's face flushed instantly, and he gently shook hands with Wong Han Han. Seeing Zhang Tongjian like that made everyone burst into laughter. Soon, everyone became acquainted and began to sing and drink, and everyone began to attack David one after another, toasting David one by one. Seeing this, Wong Han Han stood in front of David. "You toast like this, Brother David will be drunk in a while, I will drink with you." Wong Han Han took a glass of beer and drank it. Wong Han Han took the lead for David. Of course, these men would not refuse. In their opinion, Wong Han Han can get away with just 2 bottles of beer. But soon, these people knew that they were wrong, how outrageous they were. "I saw Wong Han Han drinking with everyone, but he didn't even look like he was about to get drunk, and his face didn't even change." This time, everyone was dumbfounded, even David looked at Wong Han Han in disbelief. No one could have imagined that a girl who looked so weak could actually drink so much. At this time, there were more than 30 empty bottles at Wong Hanan's feet. Wong Han Han was fine, while the others were all blushing, and some people were crooked. "Okay, let's sing, don't drink all the time." Seeing this, Kui Ziyuan could only stop everyone from drinking. If he was drinking, Wong Han Han would be fine, and it is estimated that everyone else would be drunk. "Sister Han Han, you can drink too much," Sun Xiaoming said to Wong Han Han with envy and surprise in her eyes. Wong Han Han smiled. "I don't have anything else, I just can drink." "Sister, you are too good. If I have your drinker and drink in the future, I see who dares to compete with me." Wang Lanlan also sat with Wong Han Han and said with admiration, "Sister Lan Lan, you can also practice this amount of alcohol. I'll teach you another day, just for the name of the two of us, it's just fate." Wong Han Han said with a smile. I have to say that Wong Han Han is really good at communication. It didn't take long for the 3 women to become good friends who can talk about everything. "Sister, you said that you are good looking and have a good temper. Why do you like David?" "When I look at David, he looks like a big tail, which is annoying." Wang Lanlan also drank some wine and said to Wong Han Han without shyness, "David sits by himself, doesn't sing, doesn't drink, and occasionally says a few words to Zhang Tongjian. It really seems a little out of place." "Sister Lanlan, in fact, Brother David is a good person. We have been together since we were young. Maybe you are not familiar with him." Wong Han Han wasn't angry either, just explained lightly. Seeing Wong Han Han say this, Wang Lanlan couldn't help belittling David, so she picked up the microphone and said, "Let's go, let's sing a song." Chapter 92. Wong Han Han not only looks good, but also sings first class. Her voice is no different from the original singer. This time, it made many men jealous of David, especially Kui Ziyuan, who looked at Wong Han Han with more and more hot eyes, but Sun Xiaoming was present and he didn't show too much enthusiasm. With Wong Hanan singing, the atmosphere in the entire private room almost reached its peak, and everyone was dizzy and jumping. Zhang Tongjian was also poured a few cups. At this time, his face was red and he stood up and jumped along with him. Only David sat alone in the corner, watching quietly. Just when everyone was having a good time, the door of the private room was suddenly pushed open, and a bald middle-aged man walked in with a glass of wine, followed by 2 bodyguards in suits behind the middle-aged man. Seeing that someone suddenly broke in, everyone stopped and looked at it in confusion. Wong Han Han also put down the microphone in his hand. The middle-aged man's eyes were a little blurry, his face was flushed, and he was obviously drinking too much. After breaking in, he glanced at the people in the private room, and raised his mouth. It turned out to be a bunch of raw melon eggs, who just sang it. "It's pretty good, I'll sing 2 songs in the private room with me." The words of the middle-aged people made everyone look at each other in dismay, and no one dared to make a sound. It was obvious that these middle-aged people were not ordinary people, and their group were just wage earners, but no one dared to mess with them. Seeing that no one was talking, the middle-aged man turned his attention to Wong Han Han. Wong Lanlan followed the three girls' Sun Xiaoming, because only the three of them had the microphone in their hands. The three chicks are all good, take the three of them to my private room. As the middle-aged man spoke, he took out a stack of 100 yuan bills from his pocket and threw them at the three girls. The two bodyguards behind him walked over. This frightened the three of them, and they were so frightened that they retreated again and again, and Kui Ziyuan stepped forward with a somewhat ugly face and stood in front of him. Now there is only his high status here. If he doesn't show up at this time, he will be laughed at, not to mention that Sun Xiaoming is still his girlfriend. How can I watch my girlfriend being taken away, but I am indifferent? This gentleman, who are you? We are just here to sing and relax. The three of them are our friends, not accompanying singers. Kui Ziyuan said to the middle-aged man. It doesn't matter if I sing with you. I give you money. Don't you feel ashamed when you come to this kind of place and only dare to order beer? Let the three little girls sing for me, and I will order you a few bottles of Lafite. The middle-aged man stepped forward and patted Kui Ziyuan's face. The actions of the middle-aged man can be described as not very harmful and highly insulting. This is to treat Kui Ziyuan as a little boy. Kui Ziyuan got angry and pushed the middle-aged man away, almost preventing him from falling down. As soon as he pushed it away, Kui Ziyuan regretted it. He didn't know who the other party was. Damn, push me. The middle-aged man said angrily, beat him for me. After that, the two bodyguards rushed towards Kui Ziyuan, which scared Kui Ziyuan enough. When they saw that the other party was about to make a move, the others didn't care about being afraid, and grabbed the wine bottle and stood with Kui Ziyuan. After all, Kui Ziyuan was their manager, and now is the time to show their loyalty. There are only 3 people on the other side. With so many of them together, they will definitely be able to beat each other. When the 2 bodyguards saw this, they were all stunned for a moment. They didn't expect that this group of young people was actually quite united, and the 2 bodyguards didn't dare to do anything for a while. At this moment, Kui Ziyuan was very happy. Seeing that the 2 bodyguards did not dare to do anything, he immediately stepped forward and kicked one of them. Get out of here now, and I'll just pretend that this never happened. Chapter 93. When the bald middle-aged man saw this, his eyes narrowed slightly, but when he looked at the crowd, they were all stunned. Wait for me, report your name if you have the ability, and see if I won't kill you. My name is Kui Ziyuan, and I'm waiting for you here. Do you think my brothers are vegetarians? At this moment, Kui Ziyuan felt like a big man on the Dao, and that feeling was refreshing. Good, good, good. The middle-aged man said 3 good words in a row, turned around and left with 2 bodyguards. After the middle-aged man left, Kui Ziyuan felt very happy. He had never felt this way before. Manager Kui is too good. With that kick just now, the other party didn't even dare to give AF. Art. Manager Kui was like that just now. Those who didn't know it thought it was the eldest brother on the road. Manager Kui is awesome. I doubt whether Manager Kui has ever been on the road. A group of people touted Kui Ziyuan one after another, which made Kui Ziyuan go to heaven. Kui Ziyuan was proud in his heart, but he pretended to be lighthearted and said, it's all up to everyone to support me. Since the brothers are interesting enough, I can't be stingy today. Kui Ziyuan, this time I will serve a few bottles of Lafite. How many brothers try it all? Brilliant. Long live Manager Kui. When everyone heard Lafite, they all shouted excitedly. You must know that migrant workers like them rarely drink this kind of wine. Ziyuan, let's go. If the other party really asks someone to come, it will be troublesome. Sun Xiaoming persuaded Kui Ziyuan. At this time, Kui Ziyuan used his drunkenness and so many people to support him. How could he be afraid of the bald middle-aged man? Don't worry, Xiaoming, with me here, you don't have to be afraid. Kui Ziyuan patted his chest and said. Manager Kui, I heard that this KTV is the store of Juitong, which is run by Lin Tianyu. We just had a fight, will it be? An employee said cautiously. I'm afraid, I know Lin Tianyu very well, don't worry. Kui Ziyuan waved his hand and said cooingly. When Sun Xiaoming heard that it was Lin Tianyu's store, she immediately relaxed and said, since it's Lord Tiger's store, it's easy to handle. Ziyuan is very familiar with Lord Tiger, and my company's external account is just a word from Ziyuan. Tiger Lord helped to come up. Sun Xiaoming's words immediately made everyone look at Kui Ziyuan with admiration. It would be awesome to know the underground emperor in Horrendal, but he could show off for a lifetime. Manager Kui is so secretive, he actually knows him even with Master Tiger. Since we know Tiger Master, then we are still afraid of a ball. If the other party dares to come, he will cry and call his mother. Let's drink, with Manager Kui here, who dares to provoke us? Hearing that Kui Ziyuan knew Lin Tianyu, these guys became even more reckless. David sat in the corner of his mouth was slightly raised, and he smiled faintly. It seems that this Kui Ziyuan doesn't suffer, and he always lives in his dreams. Why are you smiling? You still have a smile on your face. That old guy was going to take us away just now. You were so frightened. Wong Han Han is your girlfriend. You can't even protect your own girlfriend. What kind of man are you? Laugh out loud. Seeing David sitting in the corner laughing, Wang Lanlin immediately rebuked with dissatisfaction. Yes, is he still a man? His girlfriend was about to be taken away, and he turned a blind eye. If Manager Kui hadn't come forward, you would have been cuckolded today. And this Zhang Tongjian, who doesn't dare to move while sitting, has no backbone at all. Everyone began to criticize David and Zhang Tongjian one after another. After all, they just sat there and didn't move. Chapter 94. David knew that he didn't have to move, and that Zhang Tongjian was really too scared to move. Okay, ignore these two cowards, go out and ask for la fight, let's drink. Kui Ziyuan waved his hand and said. Soon someone went out to ask for a drink, while others gave David and Zhang Tongjian a cold look, and no one paid any attention to them. At this time, in the office of the general manager of Dynasty KTV, the bald middle-aged man was inside with 2 bodyguards. The office decoration is very luxurious. Behind a desk that is more than 3 meters long sits a man in a Chinese tunic suit. Behind the man stands a girl, wearing a cheongsam, the hem of which is open to the waist, revealing fair skin and a face. With thick makeup on it, he is pressing his head for the man in the tunic suit. This man in Zhongshan suit is Hu Chunlei, the KTV manager of the dynasty, and he is also Lin Tianyu's right-hand man, otherwise Lin Tianyu would not have handed over this KTV to him. Boss Qian, what made you angrily find me here? Hu Chunlei half squinted his eyes and asked lightly. Manager Hu, your dynasty KTV is too messy. Just now, a bunch of Lingtaching actually beat my people, and now there are clear footprints on my people. The bald money boss pointed to one of his bodyguards and said. There is also a clearly visible footprint on the bodyguard's belly. Is there such a thing? Hu Chunlei opened his eyes and sat up straight. Who is the other party? Did Chalong help? In Hu Chunlei's view, only the guys from the Chalong gang dare to make trouble here. It doesn't look like it, it's just a bunch of young people. I heard that some girls in their private room sang well, and I wanted to take them to my private room to sing 2 songs, but I didn't expect these guys to dare to do it. Boss Qian's eyes flashed with chills, and he gritted his teeth and said, I see that this is Lord Tiger's place, so I came over and told Manager Hu. If Manager Hu doesn't care, then I will find someone myself. Manager, don't blame me. It's just a bunch of little boys, why is Boss Qian angry? I'll send someone to follow Boss Qian. Hu Chunlei said, and shouted towards the door, Binzi. At this time, a man with a fierce face and tattoos on his arms walked in. Brother Hu, Na Binzi shouted respectfully. Someone was making trouble at KTV just now. You can follow Boss Qian to see if you don't kill anyone. Recently, Lord Tiger has spoken, let's keep a low profile. Hu Chunlei ordered to that Binzi. I know Brother Hu. Binzi nodded. Manager Hu, thank you very much. Boss Qian bowed his hands to Hu Chunlei. Boss Qian is being polite. If you are angry with me, of course I have to take care of it. In the future, Boss Qian will just take care of my business. Hu Chunlei smiled lightly. Soon, Boss Qian took Binzi to the private room where David and the others were, followed by more than a dozen KTV thugs. In the private room at this time, Kui Ziyuan and the others were drinking la fight, all of them flushed and shouting excitedly, when suddenly the door was kicked open. Everyone was stunned. When they saw that it was the bald middle-aged man who brought them back, they all showed panic on their faces. After all, there were more than a dozen people behind the other party this time, and they all looked fierce. Boss Qian, who moved the hand just now? Binzi asked Boss Qian. Boss Qian kept saying to Kui Ziyuan, "It's him, this kid beat me up." Binzi glanced at Kui Ziyuan, then glanced around, and immediately knew that these people were ordinary people, not just on the road. "You just beat up Boss Qian's person?" Binzi asked indifferently as he walked up to Kui Ziyuan. Seeing Binzi's face and the tattoos on his body, Kui Ziyuan was a little scared, but with the strength of the wine, Kui Ziyuan nodded. "Yes, I beat him, they bullied my girlfriend." Chapter 95. Binzi saw that Kui Ziyuan actually admitted it directly, but he was a little surprised. He looked Kui Ziyuan up and down and said, "You have the talent, you dare to act, and I will not embarrass you. Now go to your knees and apologize to Boss Qian. Today it's over." When he heard that he was asked to kneel, Kui Ziyuan would agree, shook his head and said, "Let me kneel for him, that's impossible, it's him who provokes us first." When Binzi saw Kui Ziyuan's rejection, his face suddenly turned cold. "No one dares to reject my words." With that said, Na Binzi suddenly shot, grabbed Kui Ziyuan's collar directly, and lifted Kui Ziyuan up. When the others saw this, although they wanted to go up and help Kui Ziyuan, they were all cowardly when they saw the dozen or so thugs who were staring at Boss Qian behind him. Ziyuan, Sun Xiaoming saw that the other party actually made a move, and immediately shouted and rushed over. "Let him go, my father is Sun Fuai, and we are the employees of the Su family's heart." Sun Xiaoming tried hard to break Binzi's hand, but no matter how hard she tried, Binzi didn't move at all. At this moment, Kui Ziyuan's face turned red, his breathing began to be difficult, his eyes were wide open, and his mouth was wide open. The fear of death haunts him constantly. Seeing Kui Ziyuan like this, Sun Xiaoming was very anxious, and continued to shout, "This is Lord Tiger's territory. You are in Tiger Lord's territory. Tiger Lord will never let you go. He knows Tiger. As soon as Sun Xiaoming's voice fell, Binzi's expression changed slightly, his brows furrowed, and his hand was released. Cough cough cough. After Kui Ziyuan was released, he coughed hard and gasped for breath. "Ji Yuan, are you all right?" Sun Xiaoming asked with concern. Others saw that Binzi heard Tiger Lord, and immediately let go, thinking that Binzi was very afraid of Lin Tianyu, so they shouted, "Our manager Kui and Tiger Lord are very familiar, you dare to touch him, Tiger Lord. I can't forgive you. Let me tell you, if our manager Kui said a word, then Lin Tianyu should be obedient. Just yesterday, our manager Kui only made a phone call, and then Lin Tianyu went to help and ask for the account right away. If you messed with manager Kui, just wait to die." Those people in the sales department under Kui Ziyuan, knowing that the other party was afraid of Lin Tianyu, started shouting one by one, blowing Kui Ziyuan into the sky. After David in the corner heard this, the corner of his mouth couldn't help but lift slightly. These ignorant guys, the more he said this, the more he pushed Kui Ziyuan towards the brink of death. When Kui Ziyuan heard that these guys were touting him indiscriminately, he was so frightened that he could not wait to scold these guys fiercely. Listening to everyone's words, Binzi's face became more and more ugly, and the killing intent in his eyes became more and more intense. Although Hu Chunlei told him not to kill people, but these guys were bluffing outside in the name of Lord Tiger, how could he bear it? Seeing Binzi's face getting more and more ugly, Kui Ziyuan's group thought they were afraid, and they all became proud. "You know what you're afraid of? Get out now, if we call Lord Tiger, none of you will be able to leave." Sun Xiaoming also followed Binzi with a proud face. "Shut up, shut the FCUK up." Kui Ziyuan yelled at Sun Xiaoming. Only he himself knew that he didn't know Lin Tianyu at all, and he hadn't even seen Lin Tianyu. Seeing Kui Ziyuan yelling at him suddenly, Sun Xiaoming was stunned, wondering what happened to Kui Ziyuan, but he didn't dare to speak. "You know Tiger Master?" Binzi asked Kui Ziyuan gloomily for a moment. Kui Ziyuan is now being held up by everyone, and there is no way to do it. If he admits that he does not know him at this time, he will be laughed at by everyone. Chapter 96. Gritting his teeth, Kui Ziyuan could only nod his head. "I've met Tiger Master." Kui Ziyuan's words were ambiguous. After all, he had seen Lin Tianyu, but he did not necessarily know Lin Tianyu. Originally, you only need to kneel down and apologize, but you don't want you to be swindling outside with the name of Tiger Lord. Since that's the case, then none of you want to leave today. Binzi's words were tinged with chills, which made these guys who didn't know the heights of the sky felt a chill. "Ha ha ha, you ba five tards, do you know who this is in front of you?" He is the #1 thug of Brother Hu, under the command of Lord Tiger, and you are bragging in front of him, saying that you know Lord Tiger. Look. Come on, you've come to the end of your life. The money boss burst out laughing. These people are just ordinary guys who can't be ordinary. How could they know Lin Tianyu? Boss Qian knew that they must be pretentious. Sure enough, after hearing what Boss Qian said, Kui Ziyuan's forehead was instantly covered with cold sweat. He didn't expect that he was pretending to be forced and bumped into the muzzle of the gun. It's just that other people under Kui Ziyuan didn't think so. They thought that Kui Ziyuan really knew Lin Tianyu. That Sun Xiaoming has always believed that Kui Ziyuan must know Lin Tianyu. Even if Kui Ziyuan doesn't know him, his friends must know him. Otherwise, why would Lin Tianyu come up with the debts of his family? Boss Qian, our brother also drank a little wine just now. Now my brother is not with you. I hope Boss Qian. Kui Ziyuan was discouraged and started to apologize to Boss Qian. It's just that the words were not finished, but Binzi interrupted directly. Dare to borrow the name of Tiger Lord, this is not as simple as an apology. Can you survive, you see fortune? After Binzi finished speaking, he waved his hand directly to his subordinates and said, take everyone away, and let Brother Hu go and deal with it. Soon, more than a dozen vicious thugs directly surrounded them, making Kui Ziyuan and Sun Xiaoming's faces change with fright. Zhang Tongjian in the corner was trembling even more at this time, his pants were wet, and his hands were tightly grasping David's sleeves. He is just a college student who has just graduated and not long ago. I have never seen such a scene before, and now I am scared to death. Seeing Zhang Tongjian like that, David patted him on the shoulder and said, relax, it'll be all right. Soon, Kui Ziyuan and the others were taken to Hu Chunlei's office. At this time, Hu Chunlei was closing his eyes slightly, enjoying the secretary's massage, when he suddenly saw Binzi brought back a group of people, and all of them were little hairy children. The more he frowned and said, Binzi, bring a group of little hairy children. What is the child doing? Brother Hu, this is the group of people under the money boss. Binzi said. Didn't I let you deal with it? What are you doing with my office? Hu Chunlei looked a little unhappy. Brother Hu, this guy said he knew Lord Tiger, and he was very familiar with him, so I brought it here to let Brother Hu go down. Binzi hurriedly explained. What? When Hu Chunlei heard this, he sat up straight, then looked at Kui Ziyuan coldly. Do you know Tiger Master? I, Kui Ziyuan stammered. My friend knows. What's your friend's name? I've been with Lord Tiger for many years, and I know the names of all his friends. Hu Chunlei continued to ask. This time, Kui Ziyuan was stopped. He didn't know Lin Tianyu's friends at all. With his level, how could he have a relationship with Lin Tianyu? Snapped. Suddenly, Hu Chunlei slammed the table and stood up. You guys are so bold, you dare to use the name of Lord Tiger. Chapter 97. At this moment, everyone's expressions changed suddenly, and Kui Ziyuan was even more sobered up by a cold air that went straight to the top of his head. He never imagined that he was vain and pretended to know Lin Tianyu, but he didn't want to cause trouble. Seeing Kui Ziyuan's reaction, Boss Qian sneered, stepped forward and gave Kui Ziyuan a slap in the face. Aren't you very good? People who dare to beat me, dare to use the name of Tiger Lord, I see that you are impatient to live. Boss Qian slapped that Kui Ziyuan into reality, and hurriedly begged for mercy. Boss Qian, I was wrong, I don't dare anymore, I don't dare anymore. Kui Ziyuan's begging for mercy also brought those under him and Sun Xiaoming back to reality in an instant. They knew that Kui Ziyuan didn't know any Lin Tianyu at all, he was just bragging. At this moment, everyone began to tremble. If Kui Ziyuan didn't know Lin Tianyu, what else would they have to rely on? Wrong. Boss Qian sneered. It's useless to admit my mistake now, just wait to die. Hearing this, Kui Ziyuan couldn't hold it any longer, and knelt to the ground with a thud. Brother Hu, I don't dare to use the name Tiger Lord anymore, please forgive me. Kui Ziyuan was already crying bitterly at this time, and he regretted it to death. Kui Ziyuan is already like this, and the other people are even more ashen, and Sun Xiaoming looks at Kui Ziyuan in surprise, not knowing what he is thinking. Looking at Kui Ziyuan who was on his knees begging for mercy, and at a group of panicked young people, Hu Chunlei looked at Boss Qian and said, Boss Qian, this matter started because of you, how do you deal with it? This is Hu Chunlei's face to sell the money boss. After all, the money boss is a major KTV customer. You help Leng Tuking, it doesn't matter even if it's abolished, let them all get out. Boss Qian waved his hand. When Kui Ziyuan heard this, he kept kowtowing and thanking him, but when everyone was relieved, Boss Qian glanced at Wong Han Han and Sun Xiaoming with silver eyes and said, "Men can go. But the 3 women must stay with me." Upon hearing this, Wong Han Han and Sun Xiaoming's expression suddenly changed, and Kui Ziyuan's expression became very embarrassed. After all, Sun Xiaoming is his girlfriend. He can ignore Wong Han Han and Wang Lanlan, but he can't ignore Sun Xiaoming. After all, Sun Fuai just recognized him. "Boss Qian, this is my girlfriend. Can I take her away, and she will stay with you? My girlfriend and I have been living together for more than a year, so I think Boss Qian doesn't like it." Kui Ziyuan pointed to Sun Xiaoming, and then said with a smile. In fact, he never touched Sun Xiaoming at all, but he just wanted to use this to get Sun Xiaoming out of danger. Sun Xiaoming glanced at Kui Ziyuan, but didn't say anything. After all, at this time, it was most important to get out first. Sure enough, when Kui Ziyuan said this, a bit of disgust flashed in the eyes of Boss Qian, and then he waved his hand and said, "Go away, leave those 2 women behind." Seeing this, Kui Ziyuan desperately followed Boss Qian to thank him, then turned around and left. "Manager Kui, don't leave me, don't leave me." Wang Lanlan panicked and hurriedly pulled Kui Ziyuan's arm. And Wang Han Han also looked panicked and looked at David helplessly. At this time, she could only ask David for help. After all, she was not familiar with these people, and no one would offend these people in front of her for her. "Lanlan, just drink 2 glasses of wine with Boss Qian. I'll be fine. I'll come back to pick you up later." Kui Ziyuan pushed Wang Lanlan away. Wang Lanlan suddenly became desperate, and Wang Han Han, with tears in her eyes, lightly grabbed David's clothes. She wanted David to go, but she didn't want to stay by herself. She was very contradictory. Chapter 98. Don't worry, I won't leave. David smiled at Wang Han Han. "Brother Chen, let's go." Zhang Tongjian rushed out of the room first, then turned back and shouted at David. That Sun Xiaoming also looked back and found that David was motionless, so he also shouted, "David." Boss Qian also saw that David had no intention of leaving, so he said with a cold face, "Why, I can't bear my little girlfriend, don't you want to leave?" As Boss Qian said, he reached out to Wang Han Han and touched Wang Han Han's face. At this moment, Wang Han Han was so frightened that his face was pale, and he didn't even dare to dodge. But just when Boss Qian's hand was about to touch Wang Han Han, David suddenly grabbed the Boss Qian's wrist. "I didn't even think about leaving," David said, exerting a little force, only to hear the sound of a bone crack, and David's wrist was suddenly broken by David. The severe pain caused Boss Qian to howl instantly. The heart-piercing howl sounded very intimidating. "Paralyzed, my hand is broken, let go, or I will kill you, and even play with your girlfriend." Boss Qian roared loudly with a grim expression on his face. Bang! David kicked it out, kicked Boss Qian's lower body directly, and kicked Boss Qian out directly. And that Boss Qian lay hunched on the ground, his face turned purple. David's kick directly made Boss Qian lose his ability to be a man. When Hu Chunlei saw this, his anger immediately rose, and he dared to beat his guests in front of him, which made Hu Chunlei feel shameless. "Kid, you dare to do something in front of me, you are really kind." Hu Chunlei's face was terrifyingly cold, and he waved his big hand. "Close the door, no one is allowed to leave." Kui Ziyuan and the others, who were about to leave, were all driven back and locked in the office again. This time, everyone was waiting for David angrily. If David hadn't pretended to force him, they would have left now. "David, what the H3LL are you pretending to be? We can't leave now." Kui Ziyuan roared at David. Now that David has beaten the Qian boss like this matter must not be let go. You said that everyone has let go, but this guy David is pretending to be a woman, and now even they are implicated. "David, if you want to die, please pull us up." "That's right, what are you pretending to be? If you can fight, go to the street and fight. It's over, I'm going to be killed now." Everyone is accusing David. Even Wang Lanlan was no exception. Although she was the one who was left behind, she would have a glass of wine with her, and if she couldn't, she would sleep with her, and it might have passed, but now, she beat people like this. I'm afraid it can't be solved by sleeping. Only Wang Han Han looked at David worriedly, with tears in his eyes. "Brother David, I'm sorry, I'm sorry." Wang Han Han knew that if it wasn't for himself, David would not have done it, and now David might have to go to jail, or even lose his life. "It'll be fine, don't worry." David smiled lightly. Seeing that David seemed to be nothing, the others were even more angry this time, and the accusations and insults against David were even more difficult to sound. And that Hu Chunlei's face became more and more gloomy. Binzi, let this kid be abolished. Binzi nodded, and he rushed towards David with a vigorous step, and his fist as big as a sandbag swung towards David's head. If this punch hit David's head, it would definitely burst his brain on the spot. Seeing this, everyone was so frightened that they dodged, for fear that they would be splashed with blood. Only Wong Han Han's eyes were firm, and he stood in front of David with clenched teeth. Chapter 99. Since David is for herself, Wong Han Han also intends to risk her life. She can't watch David be beaten to death in front of her. A huge strong wind was blowing towards Wong Han Han, so scared that Wong Han Han closed his eyes and pulled David with one hand, leaving David behind him. Han Han. Sun Xiaoming couldn't help shouting. Although I just met with Wong Han Han, Sun Xiaoming felt that Wong Han Han was a good person, knowledgeable and reasonable. Seeing Binzi's fist in front of Wong Han Han even felt the breath of death, but after a gust of wind blew, there was no more movement. When she slowly opened her eyes, she found that Binzi's fist was there, a few centimeters away in front of his eyes, and David's hand directly grabbed that Binzi's fist, preventing him from moving forward. This time, everyone's eyes widened, feeling incredible, and that Binzi's expression also changed, with a deep shock in his eyes, because he could feel that from David's body, there was a steady stream of power in the burst. No matter how hard he tried, it was of no avail. If you weren't Lin Tianyu's subordinates, you'd all be corpses now. David gave it away slightly, and that Binzi's body suddenly stepped back, and finally sat on the ground. Seeing Binzi like this, Hu Chunlei suddenly became popular. Damn, trash, can't even handle a little kid. Hu Chunlei kicked that Binzi fiercely. Binzi got up in a hurry and lowered his head in embarrassment. Although he fell, Binzi was not injured. David was merciful. After all, these people are his own. Let us go, today's business is over, or you will regret it. David said to Hu Chunlei. Regret? Hu Chunlei sneered. I never knew what regret was. After Hu Chunlei finished speaking, the door was opened, and dozens of people rushed in with machetes, directly surrounding David and the others. There were just a dozen people around, and they were only bare-handed. Although they were all fierce, but Kui Ziyuan and the others were all able to control their own bodies. But at the moment, surrounded by dozens of people holding bright machetes, and feeling the chill on the machete, Kui Ziyuan and the others were all frightened. Several people fainted from fright on the spot, and many people urinated directly. Even Kui Ziyuan was not spared, the pants got wet. Boy, today I can chop you into minced meat, do you believe it? Hu Chunlei said grimly. I seem to have heard that Lin Tianyu doesn't let you fight and kill, and let you do business seriously, but you are making such a big deal today, why don't you ask Lin Tianyu for instructions? David asked calmly. Hu Chunlei was stunned for a moment. After glancing at David, he hesitated for a moment, and then said to his subordinate, take care of them, one is not allowed to let go. I went to Tiger Lord to call. After Hu Chunlei finished speaking, he took out his phone and walked out. Seeing Hu Chunlei go to ask Lin Tianyu for instructions, Kui Ziyuan and the others rolled their eyes in horror. You must know that Lin Tianyu's reputation in Horrendal is very bad. He is a murderous and ruthless master. If Lin Tianyu was really disturbed, none of them would be able to survive. Not only would they not survive, but they would be tortured to death. David, you are paralyzed, we are all going to die now, don't even think about living, you have to recruit Tiger Lord, we are all finished. Kui Ziyuan saw that Hu Chunlei went to call Lin Tianyu, so he stared at David and cursed. Chapter 100. David frowned, and a cold glow appeared in his eyes as he looked at Kui Ziyuan. Kui Ziyuan suddenly felt as if he had fallen into an ice cave, and was so frightened that he quickly closed his mouth. I don't want to die, I don't want to die, Dad. Dad. Sun Xiaoming cried with fright, mumbling like she was crazy. For a while, many people began to cry, and the whole room was screaming. On the other side, Hu Chunlei called Lin Tianyu. He wanted to ask Lin Tianyu how to deal with these troublesome little boys. If it was normal, Hu Chunlei would call the shots himself, and David and the others would do it. Just a few ordinary young people, even if they disappeared, it would not cause any sensation. But now it can't be done. Lin Tianyu has clearly ordered them not to fight and kill them, and they will kill people indiscriminately. Hu Chunlei can only ask Lin Tianyu what to do. At this time, Lin Tianyu was already asleep. After receiving the call from Hu Chunlei, he yawned and said, Monkey, it's so late, did something happen to KTV? Master Hu, there are a few little hairy children making trouble at KTV and hurting Binzi. It's too arrogant. I want to ask Master Hu, if you can get rid of these guys. Hu Chunlei asked cautiously. Little boy. Lin Tianyu frowned. Who are they? Are they from the Chalong gang? With Lin Tianyu's reputation in Horrendal, no one dared to make trouble in his territory, unless it was a member of the Chalong gang. After all, Feng Sihai was just injured by David some time ago. Now, it is not impossible for the Chalong gang to find trouble with their Juitong. No, it's just a bunch of stupefied youths who say they work in some company of the Su family. There's a guy named David who injured Binzi. Hu Chunlei said. Hearing David's words, Lin Tianyu jumped off the bed. Monkey, I'll rush over now, you're not allowed to do it for me, just wait for me. After Lin Tianyu finished speaking, he hung up the phone and ran out. Hu Chunlei heard Lin Tianyu's anxious voice, his face was full of doubts, but Lin Tianyu had spoken, he had to listen. When I returned to the office was already stinking. Depend on. Hu Chunlei pinched his nose. Open the window, what a bunch of stuff. Soon the window was opened, and fresh air blew in, which blew out the stench in the room a lot. Lin Tianyu said that he should wait honestly, but Hu Chunlei could only wave his hand and let the men with the knife withdraw to avoid being seen by Lin Tianyu. I've already informed the Tiger Lord, and the Tiger Lord will be here in a while. If you have any last words, you can leave first. Hu Chunlei looked at David and the others coldly, with a sneer at the corner of his mouth. When they heard that Lin Tianyu was coming, this time Kui Ziyuan and the others were stimulated again. The scene that was a little quiet just now turned into howling and howling in an instant. Who is Lin Tianyu? The entire Horrendal, even a 3-year-old child knows, that is the devil who kills without blinking an eye. Brother Hu, it's all David's hands, it has nothing to do with us, let us go. Kui Ziyuan knelt down to Hu Chunlei again. Everyone else also knelt down and begged for mercy, one by one kept kowtow. On the other hand, David held Sun Xiaoming with one hand and Wong Han Han with the other, and did not let them both kneel. No matter how much Sun Xiaoming thinks about herself, after all, Sun Fuai is a good person and takes good care of David's family. David can't ignore Sun Xiaoming. Seeing David not kneeling, Hu Chunlei wanted to scold him angrily, but when he remembered Lin Tianyu's advice, Hu Chunlei swallowed the words. HMPH, when Lord Tiger comes, you'll look good, and then I'll see if you're still majestic. Hu Chunlei thought to himself.